Good morning. It's Friday, May 17th. And as all of you know, when I prepare to do one of these rants, I do some research. And hopefully I find something of interest. So this morning I found something very interesting. Grocery prices are finally falling. Now they're not diving, they're just falling minusculely. But that's an improvement over what's been happening for the past couple of years, where they have been on a steady rise. But now they're forward. So while I was excited to see that the price had fallen, it's not really a fallen price when you consider everything. Because when you look at these statistics, they're very confusing because they look at one thing one way and they look at something else another way. So the grocery prices retreated 0.2% from March to April. And that's adjusted for seasonal swings. And that's according to inflation data released on Wednesday by the Bureau of Labor Statistics. But on the other hand, on the other side, food prices hit restaurants rose 0.3%. So the overall food price, when you look at it, is really flat. Now, of course, I'm very happy that we had this dip. They call it a well-regulated reversal. So the dip was small, but it was well. And you know, the grocery prices really took off at the start of the pandemic. And it was running way ahead of all other kinds of inflation. So that was a problem with all the supply chains, because the war in Ukraine affected a lot of global crop exports. And then we had some extreme weather. So we had corporations that took advantage and padded their prices. But then back in February, overall prices remained flat for the first time in almost a year. And now that they have gone down, if you consider 0.2% down, they're down. And down is not 100% down, because when you consider down, you're looking from month to month. But in the 12 months through April, the prices really rose 1.1%. But overall inflation for that period of time was much higher at 3.4%. So food prices were good. We were getting away with murder on the food prices. So everybody's trying to tell us. But are they the ones who are really paying those prices? No. So let me tell you something. I do all the shopping in my household right now. And I'm going to tell you that I love eggs. And there was a point about a year ago where eggs were sky high. And so now they have been moving down. In fact, they have been the poster child for rising prices. But they were down, and they're down low. They're reasonable again. And that's important because I love my eggs, and I buy jumbo eggs all the time. There are other areas of the chain that are not doing as well. And I am talking about beef, because there's a limit on the number of cattle, on the supply of cattle. And much of the cattle was killed in some deadly wildfires in Texas. So uncooked beef has spiked about 10%. That's what they're saying. The costs or the prices are limited to what they happen to be looking at that particular moment. Uncooked beef is supposedly up 6.5%. And uncooked ground beef is up by 6%. But I am telling you, what I was looking at was up almost 200%. And let me tell you the story about duck. I love duck. And duck is $7.99 a pound. But when this pandemic hit, the duck started to rise. $7, $9, $10. It is now $19 a pound for 2 pieces of duck. And I don't buy that anymore. But those 2 pieces of duck were delicious. And they used to be $7.99 a pound. Now, has the supply of duck disappeared in this country like cattle? No. But the minute that they get the opportunity, the grocers, the store owners, pick an item and they just let it rise as far as that you go. And if people are buying it, that's okay. You know what they say, there's a sucker born every minute. But I've given up on my duck. So hot dogs are even rising. But in Costco, it's still $1.50 to get yourself a hot dog for lunch. And it's been that way for a long time. And there's other things that you notice. If you go shopping in Costco, the chicken is still $4.99. And that price hasn't changed for years. And I'll tell you something else. Those chickens are larger than their supposedly same thing in any other store, which is selling them for $6.99 and $7.99. And they're smaller than the ones that you get at Costco. So shopping for food these days is an art form. You have to watch out what you're paying for. And you have to be paying attention to how the prices are moving in every single direction. Or else it could be like me. I really don't care. I don't buy that much in a sense that there's only two of us eating. So if bananas are $1.49 for 3 pounds, that's okay. And sometimes you pay $2 for 3 pounds. But you're saving time because you're not going to the other store or whatever you're doing. So this thing got way out of whack. I didn't plan to talk about this as long as I have. But I'll say another thing about shopping. Shopping is an art form. And if you like a store and you're willing to pay whatever they charge, that's great. And in many cases, it's not so great to lock yourself into a single store. And I shop at 3 or 4 different stores because there are many different things that are not the same prices and they're not offered in all stores. My wife loves sushi, and there's only a couple of stores that do that well, so I go there. And when you're there, you might buy something that costs a little bit more money, but you buy it because of the convenience that you're in the store instead of running off to another store to get something, So you have to do for yourself what's important. And you have to look at the food and love the taste of the food. And so I tell you, shopping is a wonderful experience if you get what you want at a reasonable price. If that's not what's working for you, then you have a big problem. And there are many in this country that have a big problem because they can't afford to do what I do. They have limited budgets and everything. So I guess I'm one of the lucky ones. But I deserve it. I worked hard my whole life to get to where I am. So I leave you with that this morning. Shopping, food, one of the most important things that people do. And you have to do it well. So have a great day. Bye.